Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So this video is going to be my April book haul. All the books that I bought in April. I did buy more books than I probably should have. I'm trying to buy less books, but at least the books this month I bought were either used or relatively cheap. I only bought a few new books that actually were like a decent amount of money. Anyway, enough of the preamble. Let's just jump right into it. So I'll go ahead and start out with the book that I'm the most excited to read. And I actually had no idea that this book was coming out. I was super excited. I bought it brand new, and it is You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes. It is the third book in the Joe Goldberg series, the first book being You, which I really enjoyed, and the second book being Hidden Bodies, which I also very much enjoyed. And I'll be honest, since I had no idea that this book was coming out, I randomly stumbled upon it and I was like, what? Because of that, I literally have no idea what's going to happen in this book. I have no expectations. I've read no summaries, so I'm going to jump into it next month. I'm going to add it to my TBR. I'm going to jump in blind, and I know I'll get the audiobook because whoever does the audiobooks are really good, and hopefully I like it just as much as the first two. The other book I got was a Book of the Month Club pick, and that would be Arsenic and Adobo. If I remember correctly, the little quick synopsis for this book is that a woman opens up a restaurant and I think she accidentally poisons her ex-boyfriend or something like that. I don't know. It sounded really cool and really funny and like just a really fun mystery. And that's why I picked it for Book of the Month. Hopefully I actually read it because I'm kind of getting into a bad habit of not reading the books that I pick for Book of the Month. So hopefully I actually get to this one. The next book I paid a decent amount of money for is a book that I'm pretty excited about. I've heard good things about it, and that would be The Bone Shard Daughter. It's supposed to be a fantasy that kind of blends in different genres, including horror, which I'm very much excited to see. And if I'm remembering correctly, I believe this is a debut, and that's pretty exciting. I'm either going to be picking this up next month or in June, relatively soon. This next book is a sci-fi collection that I'm pretty excited to read. I've heard pretty good things about it, and that would be Exhalation by Ted Chiang. I bought this used. I was thinking about buying the paperback version because I much prefer paperbacks. But when I saw this, even though it's a hardcover, I was like, I might as well pick it up. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is the deckled edges or the ruffled pages, as I like to call them. I don't like them. Does anyone like them? If you do, let me know because I hate them. But that doesn't stop my excitement to actually try this out because I'm a huge fan of sci-fi short stories, like by Ray Bradbury. Oh, no, wait. Ray Bradbury. And this is supposed to be like a modern sci-fi short story collection. So I'm pretty excited to try it. The next book I bought is the sequel to The Anomaly, which I read this month. And I'll talk about that in my March wrap-up. And the sequel to that is The Possession. The Anomaly didn't like blow me away or anything, but it was good enough for me to want to try the sequel. I've looked on Goodreads and the sequel has far less good ratings than The Anomaly, which kind of scares me, but oh well. It was cheap and it's worth a shot. The next book I decided to pick up was Breach of Peace, and this is by a booktuber called Daniel Green. I'm a longtime subscriber of him. I've been subscribed to him for like, I don't know, 3.5, maybe even 4 years at this point. And so I wanted to, support him. I will admit I'm not like super excited to read it from what I've heard about it, but you know, I'll give it a go. Next book I have to talk about is a cheap hardcover that I found at Barnes & Noble, and it's called Here and Gone, and it was on sale for $6, so that piqued my interest. And a lot of the times when they're on sale like this and they have a bunch of them, that probably means a lot of people didn't like it or it didn't sell very well. But when I looked on Goodreads, it has a pretty good overall rating, so I'm going to go into this completely blind one day and see if it's any good. Hopefully it is. It probably won't be, but, you know, $6, oh well. The next book I have to talk about is the same author who wrote The Sundown Motel, which I will be reading very soon, and it sounds really good. I decided to pick up another one of her books called The Broken Girls. I really want to try to pick up more horror books, especially ones that aren't like Stephen King or Dean Koontz or authors that I've read a bunch. And these books sound, you know, pretty good. So I think I'll be reading this one next month. And if I like it or I really enjoy it, then I will be picking this one up probably after that. And this next book, I already own a copy, but I got it used very cheap, and it's a different edition, or at least a different color of an edition that I already have. It's The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King, and the edition I have is green. So I think it's pretty cool to have both. I will say I do like this one better, not necessarily because of the color, but just because, I don't know if you can tell, but it actually has dragon scales on the cover, which is a very cool attribute to have for a dragon book. This one actually does look better with like the black and the red, but no dragon scales, so not as good. This next book is pretty interesting because every once in a while I like to try to go out of my comfort zone. Normally, I love to read fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, thriller, horror, but occasionally I'll try to go a little out of my comfort zone. And I saw this book and it piqued my interest. It's called Cooking for Picasso. I saw this one day at 2nd and Charles, which is one of my favorite bookstores to go to. And from what I've read from the back of it, it's one of those stories where it's someone kind of telling their story of what happened in the past. And I kind of like those stories. Like one of the books that I just read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And this one I think is going to kind of have that same format where someone is telling their story of what happened. And obviously it involves cooking for Picasso, which I don't know. And the last 6 books I have to talk about, I got them all from thriftbooks.com, and they're all from a childhood favorite series that I haven't read in a long time, since I was a kid, and that would be the Redwall series. I got, I think, the first 5 books, and then I also got one that I remember being my favorite, and that would be Lord Brocktree. I didn't read all of the series when I was a kid, but I definitely remember reading at least 10, maybe 12 of these books, and I remember just being a kid and flying through them and having so much fun just with these, you know, random creatures that were like talking and acting like humans, and they were like fighting and battling. And I just remember having a lot of fun with it. And the one that I remember liking the most, and it's got a badass cover, is Lord Brocktree. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Hopefully they stand up to the test of time, and hopefully I like them still as an adult, because I remember loving these books when I was a kid. Hopefully they're just as good as an adult. Hopefully. Anyways, what did you guys think of this video? Did I mention any books that you either love, that you hate, or that you're excited to pick up? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching and have a terrific day.